we spoke about 2 weeks ago, the beginning of the 3 week period. We're coming to Av now, coming to Tisha B'Av, and there are people who during this time refrain from listening to pleasurable musical instruments as a empathizing with our communal loss, being in
feel or look as if you're spiritually doomed. But he says, no, you're not. He says there's a way to erase. Yes, the spiritual consequences is much greater than the technical consequence, relational. You're standing in society or whatever. There's something deeper there that's much more consequential, but that too can be rectified. Which is a beautiful positive. I think it's an optimistic view. We're on Parshat Masaei, and the last parsha of the book of Numbers. If you would like to follow in the Hebrew text, go to the end of the video, and you can follow the instructions how to find the text in sepharia.org.
First, I would like to dedicate this week's learning, Torah learning, to this 2 days ago on the 25th of Tammuz was the yahrzeit of my son Yehoshua Shimon Halevi ben Sarah Matzila. May his memory be for a blessing. And now I'm going to explain what a city of refuge is. If a person, according to the Torah, if a person had, through negligence, killed somebody, not an accident, but through negligence, I think it's called involuntary manslaughter or something like that, I'm not sure. One quick example, if a guy's chopping wood, chopping a tree, and the iron of the axe, while he's chopping, comes off and finds somebody's head, God forbid, and kills them. So he killed them. It was an accident. So he's guilty of a crime. He didn't mean to hurt anybody, but he did. So in a case like this, he has to run until they figure out what's going on. And then there are many laws about it. He has to run. There were 6 cities, 3 on the eastern bank of the Jordan River and 3 on the western bank in Israel proper. 6 cities. 3 were set aside by Moses, and 3 were set aside later on by Yehoshua, by Joshua on the other side in Israel. The reason he had to run there was because in case one of the relatives of the deceased got very mad and wanted to take revenge and maybe wanted to kill the guy, take the law into his own hands, so to speak. So there was a safe space, as we say today. There was a safe place for him to go, and he couldn't be harmed as long as he stayed within the confines of that city. The rule we're going to be dealing with today is that they had to create roads, pathways, and signposts to help the person who killed B'Shogeg, who killed inadvertently, to help him find his place of safety.
Midrash Arei Miklat. In the Midrash, on the topic of the safe cities, Tov v'yashar Adonai al ken yoreh chataim baderech. This is a verse from the Tehillim, from the Psalms, and it says, "It is good and straight, God. Therefore, God will show."
He will show sinners the way. So this is a play on words. So in the book of Psalms, King David says, God is righteous and upright. He shows sinners a path. In other words, a path to repent.
Understood.
But as we'll see, there's a deeper meaning here.
Right. That's B'Gemara Daiki Pasuk, and in the Gemara they're exacting when they analyze the verse. Itamu chataim min haaretz, חוטאים לא כתוב, רק חטאים וכולי. So it says the sins were erased from the face of the earth. And the Gemara is pointing out, it says sins, not sinners.
Right. So when we just translated the verse in Tehillim according to what you would think it should say. If you weren't reading carefully, you would say, "Oh, God is kind; He shows the sinners a way." But it doesn't say. It says chataim. And it's unusual. He shows the sins,
right,
the way. So what in the world does that mean?
And in the same way that the Gemara was being exacting with the other pasuk, we have to be exacting with this pasuk. We also have to ask, why does it say sins instead of sinners? Ki achet ose roshem, because the sin leaves an impression. Moshe Amruzal, as our sages said, shenivra mashchit mikol chet, that from each sin that a person commits, there is destroying. Mashchit is a destroyer. But the meaning here is a destroying angel. So there's a spiritual entity that's created out of this action, this sin. That this comes to show that the punishment for the sin is not only for the fact that a person is transgressing God's instructions, God's will alone. There's another level, another dimension to this. Rak sheguf achet bore mashchit, but also the existence of the sin creates the spiritual energy, the destroying angel. Lachen, therefore, af shogeg tzarich tikun. That's why even a person who sinned unwittingly, right? Not. This was by error.
So you would think he's asking a very good question. Why does this guy get punished at all? It was an accident. So it really was an accident.
Yeah.
But he says an unbelievable idea. You find this idea in Eastern thought as well. The idea of karma. In other words, if I punch somebody in the nose, so there's the body of the sin. There's my arm, the punching in the nose. I gave him a bloody nose, and there's the physical residue of what I did. I physically did something.
Right.
But even if I say I'm sorry 1,000 times, or he sues me and I pay him money, but the moment I punch the guy in the nose, I created an energy in the universe.
Yep.
A negative energy is created. And that exists outside of my physical act. No matter how many times I'm sorry, the act is now brought into the universe in some way.
So that too needs rectification. It needs some kind of remedy.
Right. And that the Buddhists would call it karma. In other words, and it could take a long time to straighten that out.
Yep. So the remedy is affected through exile. And that goes back, this is hinting back to the whole idea of the safe cities, because people had to exile to those cities. Right?
Right. Their spirit has become displaced because of their behavior.
Yeah. Yeah.
So God provides in His kindness, He provides a space for that. But there's a caveat to that, as we'll see.
כמו שאמר, אבי אדוני זקני מורי זיכרונו לברכה, מורנו רבנו זיכרונו לברכה, so he's acknowledging his father, or perhaps grandfather, his teacher,
Grandfather.
על מה שכתוב, בצרה תקלוט כבצר, מה שנאמר, בצרה תקלוט כבצר, it comes from a Shabbat Zmira.
This is a very ironic song. It goes through all the exiles of the Jewish people. It starts with Egypt. It goes to Babylonia. It goes all the way down to our current exile. It's called the Roman exile, the exile of Edom. And the song says that we sing on Shabbos that when God will redeem the Jewish people from this exile, the Tsar of Edom, the spiritual, the angel of Edom, he will try to run away from getting punished for all his bad deeds over 2,000 years, and he'll run away. And he will run to a place called Betzer, because he thought that Betzer was one of these safe spaces.
I see.
And God can't get me here, because God keeps all the rules in the Torah. God keeps. So if I run to one of these 6 cities of refuge, God will leave me alone here. But he says a little bit humorously, he says, Yachshoiv lo bebatzra tiklo kebetzer. He ran to the wrong town. He ran to Batzra, and he thought it was Betzer.
I see.
So God says, he says, hey, God, what are you doing? I'm in a safe place, a safe house. He says, didn't you read the sign wrong, man?
Yeah. You got the wrong city.
Right. So over here, the Sfas Emes says, it's not enough that you got to run to the right place. With the right intention.
Because the Holy One, blessed be, gave cities of refuge or safe cities. For a person who knows that he or she does not have a place, they're exiled, they're in a mindset of exile. They know that they have lost they've been spiritually misplaced.
Yeah, so the first thing is acknowledgement that it's me. Yeah. In our culture today, it's everyone else except me. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's a really unbelievable place we're in as a nation, as a culture. You're talking about Western culture. Yeah. It's gotten crazy to the extent that no matter what I think, do, feel, I'm right and everyone else is wrong. And if you don't like me, then you're wrong even more. You're bad. Mm-hmm. So this is the opposite of the way people are supposed to be. People are supposed to be introspective and say, you know what? It is me. Yeah. I can't change the world. I can at least try to change myself. Right. That moment of epiphany where I realized that it's, you know what? Maybe it's me. Yeah. That in and of itself, then God opens up the doors for you and says, you know what? Now I'm going to show you where you really belong in your place in the universe, because you've acknowledged that, you know what? It's not all about you.
Right, and the beginning of remedying a sin, even if a transgression, even if it's involuntary. And even if it's as grave as killing, starts with a sense of remorse. I think that's the point here. Right?
That's the point. The thought, why did such a horrible tragedy occur through my agency?
Yeah. And
so it's not just Stam, it's not random, there's nothing random. I had something to do with this. I didn't mean it was my fault, I didn't know he was there, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, look what happened. And I was the agent of that. Okay,
well, I left that out, but that's the end of the sentence. Right. So God gives, just to summarize that sentence, so God gives cities of refuge or the safe spaces to a person that knows that they are spiritually misplaced or in exile because they see that how come how did it become their lot that such a great wrongdoing sin to kill somebody happened to them, as you just say. So that is we'll move on. And this regret in and of itself gives them a new place. They can find a place. Because the Holy One, blessed be, gives a place this city of refuge, a safe place, to a person who does not have one, who is in exile. אבל כשסומך עצמו על זה, המקום אינו נותן לו. But if a person is counting on a city of refuge, when they're saying, well, nothing to worry about, I can go to the city of refuge, then God does not give a person a city of refuge. It doesn't work that way. There's got to be sincere remorse first. וכולי דפי חכמיכם, etc., according to the words of Chachmeichen, or the wise people of the hidden wisdom, which is basically the mystics, the Kabbalists, etc. So, נמצא כי עיקר מקומו מה שיודע שאין לו מקום. So we find here, says the Sfat Emet, that the essence of a person's place is knowing that he or she does not have a place. And I'd expand that to say the essence or the condition, foundation for a person's safe space is knowing that one does not have a safe space. One is uprooted spiritually. וזה עצמו תיקון החטא, כפי מה שהוא מתחרט לפני השם יתברך. And this, in of itself, is the remedy or the rectification of the sin, and to the extent that a person is in a place of remorse before the Holy One, blessed be.
The Tikkun HaChet now gets back to our original question. The original question was, you have two things going on here. You've got the body of the sin, and you've got the energy, the negative energy that you created through doing the sin. Right. So the forgiveness, the pay the guy the civil suit, that's the body of the sin. I'm sorry. But the internal transformation, I have to change myself. Why did this happen through me? I must change my behavior, the way I talk to people, the way I act with people and myself. I have to get a better relationship going with God, whatever it is. That does an amazing thing. It actually retracts that's the tikkun for the negative spirit that the malach.
Yeah. For the angel, for the destroying angel, or that's a spiritual imprint that the sin leaves.
Right. And that's how that's rectified.
That's right. And you could say that is even more complicated. To say I'm sorry is, to the person is perhaps easy, but the spiritual depth of that rectification is more challenging. Yeah. כמו כן, חטא שלו הוא מלאך המשחית. And similarly, the sin and the destroying angel, אינו מוצא לו מקום, also cannot find a place, a safe place. השם יתברך נותן לכולם מקום, but the Holy One, blessed be, gives everybody a safe space or a city of refuge. וזה שכתוב, and that's why it's written, יורה חטאים וכולי. He's going back to the original verse in Psalms.
But here he's making a joke. He's saying that God shows the sin the way. He shows him he puts up the sign the wrong way, like the Roadrunner and Wild Coyote used to put up a sign. What an old cartoon. But he put up a sign, arrow pointed the wrong way. And he sends, metaphorically, God sends once I do the correct remorse and repentance, God sends that malach packing. That's what he's trying to say.
Just like he did to the malach for Edom, the malach of the Romans. So send him to the wrong city.
He sends him off the cliff, right? The arrow pointed, it's off the cliff.
So our karmic impression gets sent, that gets sent to exile, and it saves us.
Right.
basically cleans our slate.
Right.
ובספר תומר דבורה, and in the book תומר דבורה, Rav Moshe Cordovero from Rabbi Moses Cordovero, great Kabbalist, כתב שזה חסד גדול מהשם יתברך. He wrote that this is a great loving kindness from the Holy One, blessed be, שנותן מקום להמשחית, that gives the destroying angel a place to get lost at.
I like the way you said that. A place to get lost.
Yeah. So he's being both deep and humorous here.
Well, I'm finding, I don't know if this was meant to be humorous, but I'm finding a little humor in it.
Yeah. So what's the nafkamina? What's the take home for us?
Well, I think as usual, it's packed. There's a lot to take out of this. For me personally, I'm getting the message that if we find ourselves sort of out of sorts emotionally, some would say spiritually, if I'm feeling like where do I belong in this world, I'm feeling like sort of displaced. So I think he's teaching us that we have to be introspective and honest with ourselves. Like the Baal Shem Tov used to say, a person doesn't wake up lost in the middle of a forest. Like, how did I get here in my life? Like, what were the decisions? And we don't blame others. It's society. It's this. It's systemic that. It's this. It's all nonsense. Look inside. How did I get here? And then just asking that question is enough to set into motion a way to dig ourselves out.
Yeah. It's a tiny shift of attitude makes a big difference.
Right.
Yeah. Going from looking outside to looking inside and taking responsibility. And I want to add to that I think what I take home is that it may seem that when you get involved with something that would, something terrible, it's something terrible that you're involved with and you're somewhat responsible for, it could feel or look as if you're spiritually doomed. But he says, no, you're not. He says there's a way to erase, yes, the spiritual consequences is much greater than the, technical consequence, or relational, you're standing in society or whatever. There's something deeper there that's much more consequential, but that too can be rectified, which is a beautiful positive. I think it's an optimistic view, that teshuva is always available at all levels. And that's the true nature of God, of Hashem. That's the true nature of spirituality from a Yiddishkeit, from a Yadut point of view. Feels like a gift from the Sfat Emet. So we all be blessed, and if you appreciated this teaching, I have a suggestion: subscribe if you haven't. It's not much to you, but it means a lot to us. And if you have further comments and want to remain engaged, leave a comment below. And we look forward to seeing you, God willing, next Wednesday at 9:00. I think it's shalom for now.
We spoke about 2 weeks ago, the beginning of the 3-week period. We're coming to Av now, coming to Tisha B'Av, and there are people who during this time refrain from listening to pleasurable musical instruments as empathizing with our communal loss, being in exile, yep, and hoping for the best for the land of Israel. And so in simpatico with that, so today instead of a tune, we'll say why we're not playing a tune today.
Understood. Thank you for that. That's actually, that really seals the whole teaching in a really good way. So,
yeah.
Appreciate it. Okay, so as usual, you go into sefaria.org, you click on the three horizontal lines on the top left corner, and that will take you to the Sefaria library. You scroll down to the section called Texts. On the bottom right, you click on More. Then when it opens up, you click on Chassidut. When you're in Chassidut, you scroll down to the subtitle that is called, let's see, Other Chassidut Works. And towards the bottom, you'll find this Sfat Emet. There it is on the right-hand side. And you click on it. It will take you to the beginning of Sfat Emet in Bereshit number 1. You click on the drop-down menu, you go down to the table of contents, and you go to the book of Numbers. You click on that. You go down to Masaei. Click on Masaei, and you're going to click on section number 4. And that will be the first paragraph right there. Section number 4 starts with Bamidrash al Arei Miklat.